Rain or shine, tuloy ang buhay, tuloy ang pagbuhos ng biyaya, tuloy ang pag-usad ng mga araw. Bagong linggo, bagong mga plano, lalo na at 76 days na lang, Pasko na. May mga bagong challenges na kakaharapin, pero it's also a chance para magsimulang muli. Kaya kapit lang at i-enjoy ang bawat moment ng buhay anumang panahon ang dumating. Ako po si Jal Miranda, ang inyong ka-online at ka-forever. We welcome you to DOStv, your most comprehensive real-time authority on the latest weather updates. Dahil weather lang ang laging nandyan, tag-araw man o tag-ulan, hindi nang iiwan kahit sino ka man. Remember that, folks, it's DOStv reporting live from Pag-asa Weather and Flood Forecasting Center. Ang DOStv ay mapapanood ninyo Mondays to Fridays, 11 a.m. to 12 noon, dito lang sa www.dostv.ph. At live na rin po tayo sa Facebook at facebook.com/dostvph. Kaya makisabay na rin sa live streaming namin. And for today's episode, isang nakaka-inspire na naman na bisita ang ating makakasama. She will tell us her secret to success, kung bakit sa kanyang murang edad ay ginawaran na siya ng Outstanding Young Scientist Award. Alamin natin ang kanyang kwento maya-maya lamang. Pero bago yan, alamin muna natin ang magiging lagay ng panahon for today. Heto ng ating Pag-asa correspondent, Mr. Jory Lois. Sir Jory, kumusta po ang magiging lagay ng panahon?
Maraming salamat, Miss Jel. Magandang umaga, Pilipinas. Magandang umaga rin sa mga viewers ng DOStv. At para po sa magiging lagay ng ating panahon, para po sa araw na to, inaasahan yung mga mahihinang pag-ulan, mahina hanggang sa katamtamang mapag-ulan dito po sa Cagayan Valley, Ilocos Region, itong Cordillera at Central Luzon. Bunsod pa rin ito ng southwest monsoon o ng habagat na nakaka-apekto po sa mga lugar na to dahil po sa pwesto nitong si Bagyong Julian na hindi po umaalis sa kanyang lugar hanggang po sa ngayon. Kaya po patuloy po ang epekto nitong habagat dito sa mga areas na to. Dito naman sa Calabarzon at sa Metro Manila, asahan din na ganong weather conditions ang mararanasan. May light to moderate rains. Bunsod naman ito ng tinatawag nating convergence, yung southwest na hangin at saka yung southeast na hangin ay nagtatagpo doon sa mga areas na yon. Kaya po asahan din na magkakaroon ng mga pag-ulan sa mga areas na yan. At dito naman po sa Kabisayaan, magandang lagay ng panahon po ang inaasahan. Wala naman pong direktang epekto yung mga nasabi kong weather system. So asahan na magiging mainit po dyan sa Iloilo City. 26 to 33 degrees Celsius. Sa Cebu naman ay 26 to 32 degrees Celsius. Since maulan nga or magkakaroon mga pag-ulan dito sa Luzon, particularly dito sa Metro Manila, bababa po yung temperatura o asahan natin medyo may kalamigan na magiging temperatura dito sa Metro Manila, 26 to 31 degrees Celsius. Samantalang dito naman sa Baguio City, aabot po ng 16 hanggang 22 degrees Celsius. Dito naman po sa Camindanao, may mga mahina hanggang sa katamtamang mapag-ulan din ang mararanasan dito po sa may Davao Region, kasama na rin yung Soxalgen. Ito naman po yung bunsod ng trough ng low pressure area na nakikita natin sa ngayon. Medyo may kalayuan.
The Information and Communications Technology Office of the Department of Science and Technology was one of the winners at the 2016 World Summit of Information Society or WSIS prizes. Their entry, the Tech4ED project, bagged the award in the e-employment category, Best for Other ICT Applications from Colombia, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The WSIS Forum 2016 is the world's largest annual gathering for the ICT for Development community. WSIS stakeholders established the WSIS prizes to recognize organizations that showcase success stories and replicable models that empower the community at the local level. It pays tribute to the efforts of partners for their added value to society and their commitment towards achieving WSIS goals. The ICT Office's e-Society Division implemented the Tech4ED project, which stands for Technology for Education, Employment, Entrepreneurs, and Economic Development Project. Tech4ED seeks to provide access to different aggregated, existing, and proven ICT-enabled services and relevant content in one single platform. Tech4ED centers established throughout the country provide this platform to citizens, serving as conduit for efficient delivery of government and other services. Through the project, rural communities gain access to non-formal education, skills training, English training, an online library, ICT literacy, financial and entrepreneurial training materials, and online government services. It is a potent tool for empowering and encouraging the participation of unserved and underserved communities, harnessing technology to create an inclusive, integrated, and equitable countryside. In 2015 alone, 89 new Tech4ED centers were established nationwide and 233 Memorandum of Understanding were signed with different municipalities and cities, paving the way to the creation of even more Tech4ED centers. Meanwhile, the first quarter of 2016 saw the inauguration of 14 new Tech4ED centers in Kapatagan, Lanao del Norte, and 41 in Ilocos Norte. Philippine Science High School student Marla Abao recently bagged the Best Oral Presentation Award at the International Student Science Fair held at the National University of Singapore, High School of Math and Science in Singapore. Abao won the prize for her research titled An Android Application for Efficient Disaster Kit Procurement for Low-Level Floods. Abao, along with her schoolmates Michael Tori and Justin Opulencia, individually presented SciTech projects to an international audience. Aside from the research presentation, said PSI students also participated in other fun ISSF activities such as the Science Challenge, a science-themed amazing race. The three students merged with another set of American students, likewise topped the competition. The ISSF is an event hosted by members of the International Science Schools Network, or ISSN, on routine basis. The PSHS main campus was invited to become an associate member, giving the country a chance to host the event in the future and to present the local science education scene to the international community. During the workshop, the students also tinkered with fiber optic technologies that were made by Nobel Prize winners. The ISSF convened teachers and students of science high schools from Asia, Africa, Europe, Australia, and America to share their researches and celebrate science. The Food and Nutrition Research Institute of the Department of Science and Technology conducted a series of successful advocacy meetings on DOST Pinoy intervention strategy and stabilized brown rice among stakeholders in Bayawan and Dumaguete City last 2015. The Technology Transfer and Commercialization section organized the advocacy meetings in coordination with the DOST Negros Oriental Office. The DOST Pinoy Intervention Strategy is one of the two components of the Malnutrition Reduction Program, or MRP. The acronym Pinoy stands for the Package for the Improvement of Nutrition of Young Children. This intervention strategy is a combination of 120 days feeding of complementary food blend developed by the FNRI among 6 to 36 months old malnourished children and conduct of nutrition education during mothers or caregivers of the malnourished children using the DOST Pinoy modules. The DOST Pinoy Advocacy was in preparation for the 2-day training that will be held for the program implementers in Bayawan City as recipients of the Project Malnutrition Reduction Program. Bayawan City was chosen as one of the recipients of the said project since the local government
The Philippines became a member state of the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, in 1958. The Philippines has been a solid and productive partner in the realization of the IAEA's Atoms for Peace program. At the center of this fruitful cooperation for more than half a century is the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, or PNRI, formerly the Philippine Atomic Energy Commission. PNRI is a research and development institute and the national nuclear regulatory body under the Department of Science and Technology. PNRI spearheads the development and applications of nuclear science and technology in agriculture, health, industry, and environment to address the country's needs. PNRI scientists are developing precision farming methods using radioisotopes and stable isotope tracers such as nitrogen-15. Precision farming methods are undertaken to determine the right amount and proper timing of fertilizer application at different growth stages of staple food crops such as rice and corn. Soil moisture neutron probe and other related techniques are being used to optimize irrigation scheduling, while carbon-13 and oxygen-18 isotopes are used to evaluate and assess the effectiveness of different irrigation technologies. Results show that better practices can increase fertilizer utilization up to 70%. Appropriate irrigation scheduling can improve crop water use efficiency and minimize losses by around 25%. These will serve as bases for updating the decades-old recommended levels of fertilizer and water inputs in agricultural production. The preliminary findings are being shared to the project's beneficiaries and stakeholders, local government units in the nearby provinces and municipalities, and other farmer cooperators. PNRI scientists have developed plant growth promoters, or PGPs, from radiation-processed natural polymers such as carrageenan and chitosan. Results of initial pot experiments on mung bean and peanut showed that the PGPs from irradiated carrageenan and chitosan increased the crop yield by 200 to 300%. Field experiments are currently being conducted at Cagayan Valley Research Center in Isabela Province with promising results. Field testing on rice sprayed with PGPs resulted in plants showing no signs of rice tungro disease infection. The field test was conducted at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños in Laguna Province. Through radiation technology and mutation breeding, PNRI conducts studies on improving the quality of adlai. Adlai is a tall grain-bearing tropical plant from the same family as rice and corn, which grows abundantly in the country and may also serve as an alternative staple food. Results of PNRI studies show that the plant height of irradiated adlai decreased by up to 1 meter, making them more resistant to lodging caused by strong winds and typhoons. Gamma irradiation can also be used to control the population of various pests that damage agricultural crops and serve as carriers of viruses and diseases. These problems are even more prevalent in tropical countries such as the Philippines. PNRI scientists previously used the sterile insect technique, or SIT, against fruit flies that infest export fruits like mangoes. The Institute later expanded its applications to help mitigate the perennial dengue problem in the Philippines. A stock colony of Aedes aegypti was established at the PNRI laboratory as a source of test insects for various experimental tests, leading to the development of SIT against the dengue mosquito vector. Around 39 nuclear medicine facilities in the Philippines are licensed by PNRI. These facilities use technetium-99m and other radioisotopes for diagnosis of the state of health of various human organs and treatment of certain diseases. Through its newly established technetium-99m generator facility, PNRI paves the way for cheaper and more available supplies of radiopharmaceuticals in the country. This facility was established with IAEA technical assistance. The local production of technetium-99m will save the medical industry up to around 20% of the average cost for imported technetium radiopharmaceuticals. PNRI has been recently licensed by the Food and Drug Administration to operate the facility. Proposals are also being considered to make technetium-99m available at subsidized costs to government hospitals and charity patients. Medical cyclotron facilities enable the local production of medical isotopes which serve as tracers in positron emission tomography or PET imaging. PET imaging is used to diagnose various oncological, neurological, and cardiovascular diseases. The first medical cyclotron in the country was set up in 2001 at St. Luke's Medical Center as an in-house facility. With technical assistance from the IAEA, PNRI coordinated a task force composed of private and government sectors to set up the second medical cyclotron facility in the Philippines. The cyclotron was recently established by the private sector in cooperation with the National Kidney and Transplant Institute. The centralized medical cyclotron facility will allow PET-CT imaging to be more accessible to several hospitals and can even halve the cost of these procedures. This facility will further modernize nuclear medicine in the country. Aside from surgery and chemotherapy, radiotherapy is another method for treating cancer through the application of ionizing radiation. PNRI monitors about 36 radiotherapy hospitals and medical centers in the Philippines to maintain the required level of safety and security according to IAEA standards. The nuclear medicine and radiotherapy professionals, through their respective professional societies, are participating in the IAEA Quantum and Quattro projects to enhance quality of procedures and patient care and ultimately nuclear safety. Quantum stands for Quality Assurance in Nuclear Medicine, while Quattro is Quality Assurance Team for Radiation Oncology. Harmful algal blooms, also known as red tide, has always caused damage to the health and business of fishing communities and consumers alike, a problem that makes an archipelago such as the Philippines especially vulnerable. In 2005 and in 2010, IAEA designated the PNRI as a collaborating center in harmful algal bloom studies. The Institute engaged in research and development on receptor binding assay, or RBA, which has been approved by the Association of Official Analytical Chemists International in 2011 as the analytical tool for paralytic shellfish poisoning. The PNRI is transferring the RBA technology to the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources as an alternative to mouse bioassay. In cooperation with the University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute, PNRI currently undertakes various researches on harmful algal blooms, shares its expertise, and accepts trainees from other IAEA member states. Stable isotope ratio mass spectrometry is used for analyzing the geographic and botanical origin of samples, as well as the methods and mechanisms used for their production. In 2008, PNRI established its own isotope ratio mass spectrometer, or IRMS laboratory. The IRMS laboratory facilitates many of PNRI's environmental research involving water resources and drainage basin studies, and for the precision farming project to measure fertilizer and water uptake by plants. The IRMS facility is also used for the analysis of food and other samples to determine their provenance or origin. PNRI's IRMS facility made isotope analytical services cheaper and more accessible to local researchers. The PNRI and the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, or BSWM, used the stable isotope technique to trace the sources of pollutants entering the Manila Bay from the Pampanga River Basin. The mixing models reveal that domestic and cropland sources contributed dominantly in the pollution along the Pampanga River Basin leading to Manila Bay. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources is again contracting PNRI and BSWM to replicate the study with the 3 other river basins discharging into the bay to get a complete picture of the pollution loading in the Manila Bay. The PNRI has been using radiation from the Cobalt-60 facility since the late 1980s with successful results. The Cobalt-60 irradiation facility has been used in the sterilization of medical devices, packaging materials and pharmaceuticals, decontamination of cosmetic raw materials, spices, dehydrated vegetables and herbal products, extension of shelf life of food, and quarantine treatment of fruits and vegetables. The present multi-purpose irradiation facility is now being used on a semi-commercial scale. The new 2.5 MeV electron beam facility at PNRI is capable of delivering higher dose rates, thus widening the applications of radiation processing, such as radiation cross-linking and polymer grafting. The establishment of the electron beam facility in the Philippines received financial support from the IAEA and the Japanese and U.S. governments under the Peaceful Utilization Initiative. The PNRI received counterpart funds from the Department of Science and Technology, Grants in Aid, and the national government for the facility. To help enhance the export competitiveness of Philippine super mangoes, PNRI has developed a quarantine treatment using gamma irradiation against the mango pulp weevil. Based on PNRI's research studies, a minimum radiation dose of 165 gray is enough to make the adult mango weevil sterile, providing sufficient quarantine security for the Philippine mangoes. The quarantine treatment was already published as a final rule in the United States Federal Register in October 2014. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has also recently expanded the weevil-free areas in the country beyond Guimaras Island, finally allowing more Philippine mango exports to enter the United States. In collaboration with the Bureau of Plant Industry, PNRI will also play a major role in implementing the quarantine treatment through the upgrading of its semi-commercial irradiation facility. As the national nuclear regulatory body, the PNRI formulates rules and regulations on the safety and security of atomic energy facilities and radioactive materials. The PNRI grants licenses to industrial, commercial, medical, educational, and training sectors for authorization to use, possess, produce, store, sell, transport, or import radioactive materials. The Philippines continues to participate in the international effort to address nuclear security and prevent nuclear terrorism under the Global Threat Reduction Initiative and Megaports Initiative. In support of the Megaports Initiative, radiation portal monitor systems were installed at the ports of Manila and Cebu to detect, deter, and prevent illicit trafficking of nuclear and other radioactive materials. The monitoring systems were donated through a memorandum of intent between the U.S. and the Philippine governments under the Megaports Initiative of the U.S. Department of Energy. To ensure sustainability, the European Union is donating a radiation portal monitor and other equipment for training of port operators and Bureau of Customs personnel. PNRI operates the only centralized radioactive waste management facility for low-level radioactive wastes in the country. This provides for the treatment and temporary storage of immobilized, disused radioactive sources and other waste packages for interim storage. A project on conditioning spent high-activity radioactive sources was conducted in cooperation with the South African Nuclear Energy Corporation and the IAEA. This project was undertaken to ensure safe and secure management of these sources in a long-term storage container, reducing radiation levels at the surface and eliminating the risk of overexposure and possible covert action. PNRI is evaluating a site for the final disposal of low and intermediate level wastes. The site evaluation is being undertaken with other government agencies. The Institute envisions to co-locate a near-surface radioactive waste facility with the IAEA recommended BOST facility for disused sources. The PNRI Nuclear Training Center conducts training courses, seminars, and workshops for various groups and sectors on capability building in the field of nuclear science and technology. The training courses tackle on the applications of nuclear S&T and on radiation and nuclear safety. Laboratories and facilities of the different research units in PNRI are made available to the trainees, in addition to arrangements made with other private companies, government agencies, universities, and hospitals. PNRI also conducts training courses on non-destructive testing in cooperation with the Philippine Society for Non-Destructive Testing. The PNRI Nuclear Training Center has been accredited by Lufthansa Technique Philippines as an NDT training service provider per European Standard EN 4179. The IAEA has selected the Philippines as one of the pilot countries in launching an outreach program on nuclear science and technology for secondary schools. This project is being undertaken through the collaboration of the PNRI and the Quezon City Division of City Schools of the Department of Education. The IAEA develops a compendium of resources and activities for use by high school teachers and students. The compendium will be tailored to the flow of DepEd's K-12 basic education curriculum, such that it may touch on the basics of nuclear science and its applications. Like the atom that is filled with great energy and potential, the future prospects of nuclear science and technology in the Philippines remain bright as day as the country continues to cooperate with the IAEA. Through its contributions in agriculture, industry, health and medicine, environmental protection, nuclear safety, and safeguards and security, it is PNRI's mandate to continue serving as the beacon for the country as it moves forward with nuclear science and technology.
Science and technology is the key to success and development. However, we must also bear in mind na useless ang science and technology kung wala ang mga scientists and researchers that continuously persevere and dedicate their learning and talent sa pag-nurture ng field of knowledge na ito. Big things comes from small ideas, kaya naman dapat lang nating bigyan pansin ang mga great minds that change our lives. Kaya ganun na lamang kapursigido ang National Academy of Science and Technology na bigyang parangal ang mga outstanding young scientists dito sa ating bansa. And we are honored na isa na namang batika na scientist na naging recipient ng award na ito ngayong taon ang ating makakausap ngayon. Our guest was recognized for her significant contributions in the field of economics. Her research interests include environmental and resource economics, development economics, and energy economics. She obtained her Bachelor of Science degree in Business Economics in 1997 and her Master of Arts degree in Economics in the year 2002 from the University of the Philippines, and received her PhD in Economics that year 2012 from the University of Hawaii. She's also a published author. The University of Chicago Press published her paper entitled Intergenerational Games with Dynamic Externalities and Climate Change, Experiments in the Journal of the Association of Environmental and Resource Economists, one of the top journals in the field of resource and environmental economics. She is currently the program director of the USAID Grant Energy Policy and Development Program at the UPCON Foundation, secretary and board member of the Philippine Economic Society, and assistant professor at the University of the Philippines School of Economics. Mga ka-forever, let us all welcome Dr. Majah-Leah V. Ravago. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
Oo, di ba talagang introduction pa lang, kitang-kita na namin yung inyong achievement.
Salamat, salamat.
Okay, kayo po ay economist.
Yes, oo.
So, kwentuhan nyo kami, ano ba talaga, pag sinabing economist ka, anong trabaho ng economist?
Well, siguro simulan natin na i-define ano ba yung economics.
Yes.
So, economics, ang typical na tinuturo namin sa mga estudyante, pinag-aaralan namin yung scarce resources. So, tinitingnan din natin yung mga factors kung ano ba yung nakaka-influence sa production, distribution, at consumption of goods and services. So, yung economics, galing yan sa word na ecos, meaning house, and then yung nomos, from the Greek word, rules. So, we're studying the rules that governs the house, so more on management. So, as economists, iba-iba rin to. So, ako, nasa field ng academic research. So, we try to do research that can inform policies, help policies. And then, syempre, ang ultimate objective naman natin for the Philippines to improve the well-being ng Filipinos. So, yun yung ginagawa namin. And also, to educate.
Okay. So, paano papasok ang science dito, ma'am?
So, economics is a social science. So, dyan pumapasok yan. So, we study the behavior of the agents. Yung agents, ito yung mga consumer at producer. And then, may mga different fields on economics. So, especially in my field, ang tinitingnan ko, ang research interest ko, sabi mo nga, resource and environmental economics. And then, right now, we're also looking at the energy economics. So, dito nagme-marry yung, pag sinabi mo kasing science, ang typical na what we think or perception is the natural science. So, itong field na to ng economics, ito yung tinatawag na transdisciplinary approach. So, wherein we use the framework of economics and then marry them with the natural sciences. So, hindi naman pwedeng ma-inform yung policy kung hindi rin namin alam what, let's say, kung ano talaga yung science concerning energy or yung isang paper na ginawa namin, climate change. We also have to know the science behind climate change bago namin ma-inform yung policy, and then we apply economics. So, may marry.
Okay, so usually kasi pag sinasabi mo economics, perception dyan, industrialization, supply and demand, etc. ganyan. So dito pala, pwede rin. Pag ikaw ay isang economist, pwede nyo pasukin din. O ibig sabihin, related pa rin ng science talaga dito sa profession ninyo.
Yes, oo. Nagme-marry naman talaga siya.
Okay, pero bakit ito, ma'am, ang napili ninyong career?
Ang economics?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, actually, nagsimula ako sa UP nung first year. Applied Physics ang aking course. And then, medyo iba yung pinaliwanag sa amin. So, naisip ko, gusto ko sa business. Kaya business economics yung kinuha ko. And then later on, I was fortunate to work at Philippine Institute for Development Studies. And then, that was my first foray in research. And then, nag-enjoy ako because you get to learn new things. And then, doon na nagtuloy-tuloy, I went for my master's at UP and then work at CIRCA. And then, nagpurso na talaga ako ng graduate education.
So, tinuloy-tuloy nyo naman.
Tinuloy-tuloy ko na, oo.
Nag-enjoy. Siyempre, pagkasabi nga, nagiging productive kayo talaga pagka yun na yung passion ninyo.
Yes, yes. Iba kasi yung every time, meron kang bagong nalalaman. And then, you get the high feeling whenever you finish a research paper. So, iba din yun. And then, ngayon, nasa academe ko, iba din yung nagtuturo ka. Iba yung you have continuous interaction with the students because you help shape the minds. And then later on, bago pa lang ako nagtuturo and then meron ng mga nakagraduate, iba rin yung feeling na hinahay ka nila after they went on to their respective career. So, I'm looking forward na kung ano yung magiging mga estudyante ko later on in the future.
Sana may mga future scientist na rin,
Yes,
ano?
oo,
From your teaching career, hindi
Yes,
ba?
oo.
So, meron kayong research na na-recognize ng NAST or ng NAST.
Yes.
Kwento nyo kami, brief background about this research.
So, doon nga sa introduction mo, nagmula actually ito yung mga research dun sa aming project na Energy Policy and Development Program. So, yung pinaka-na-complete namin na recently completed na paper, we contributed dun sa project ng NEDA na Ambisyon Natin 2040, kung familiar kayo dito. So kami yung gumawa nung tungkol sa power. So power security. So tiningnan namin doon kung saan ba tayo kukuha ng power in the future. Kasi in the recent past, mga 6 years, that's where we experience a good economic growth for the Philippines. And then, if we want to continue the growth in the future up to 2040, energy or power would be one biggest constraint kasi ito yung inputs to production. How do we support the growth kung wala ka namang power? So, yun yung tiningnan namin sa recently completed na paper, and then sinasabi namin doon na ano ba talaga yung, paano natin mapapaginhawa yung buhay ng mga Pilipino? Kasi yun yung survey ng NEDA. Gusto ng mga Pilipino in year 2040 ng maginhawa at matatag na buhay. So, paano makakatulong yung energy sector? So, tinitingnan namin, paano natin makakatulong sa pagbaba ng presyo. Kasi kung makikita mo sa mga datos, isa yung Pilipinas sa may pinakamataas na binabayaran na kuryente.
Kuryente, totoo.
So, gusto natin makatulong. Paano, at pag-aralan, paano ba natin ito mapapababa? Kasi parang iyon yung isang malaking porsyento ng budget ng bawat pamilya at yung mga investor din. So, sinasabi namin dun sa aming research na tingnan natin kung ano ba yung murang fuel, yung panggatong na tinatawag. Meron diyang coal, pwedeng hydro, pwedeng nuclear. So, tinitingnan natin ano ba yung tamang mix, yung tinatawag na fuel mix na pwedeng applicable. So, sabi namin, dapat kung gusto nating ipababa yung presyo, tingnan natin kung ano ba yung pinakamura. And then, increase yung utilization of that resource that is cheap. Of course, nagbabago kasi yung technology, nagbabago din yung presyo. So, kumbaga, huwag nating itali yung sarili natin sa isang fuel na alam naman natin na magbabago yung presyo. So, sa ngayon, 2016, ang pinakamura, coal, baka
coal
pwedeng dagdagan natin pa muna yung coal kasi ang problema pa natin is poverty at saka nga yung maginhawang buhay. Pero hindi rin natin maiaalis na pwedeng magmura yung mga renewable. Kasi nakikita na rin naman na ang bilis ng technology yung renewable, yung solar and wind. So pwedeng kapag nagmura na to, doon naman tayo. Kumbaga hindi natin itatali yung sarili natin. Yun yung dapat nating pag-aralan. Hindi kumbaga isa lang ngayon. And then kailangan din nating i-consider Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao. Sa Mindanao nandyan yung hydro. Mura pa rin yung hydro dyan, di ba? Sa Luzon, nandyan yung coal. So, coal pa rin yung base load. So, i-consider din natin yung geographical location kung saan natin kukuhanin talaga yung panggatong para makatulong sa pagbaba ng presyo.
Oo nga, ma'am. Kasi syempre, di ba, sabi nga natin, pagka nakikinig tayo ng balita, iniuulat sa atin na maunlad ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas, etc., etc. Pero, kung ikaw simpleng mamamayan, ramdam ba ng simpleng mamamayan na umunlad nga ang ekonomiya? Kung ang kuryente ko nga binabayaran monthly, parang wala naman nagbabago. Although minsan sinasabi lang may paggalaw sa presyo ng kuryente, pero parang wala rin naman.
Ganun nga. So, yun yung kumbaga pinag-aaralan kung paano pa makakatulong sa pagbaba ng presyo. Isang aspeto lang yun yung fuel mix.
Okay, so yung inyong research, ang focus nyo talaga ay energy policy.
Yes, oo.
Okay. So mas explain pa natin, ma'am, pagdating sa bagay nito, sabi nyo nga, iba't ibang factor yan pwedeng makatulong sa atin dito sa Pilipinas. Pero ano yung pinaka-main focus ng inyong study?
So, yun nga, paano ang study kasi, yung pinaka-project is to help contribute nga to bring down the cost of prices. So, unang nasabi ko na, yung fuel mix. Pero yung iba pa naming tinitingnan, yung coordination, fuel mix generation lang kasi yan. Meron pang delivery nung kuryente, di ba? Yung sa power plant, idinideliver yan, nandyan yung NGCP, ito yung NLEX at SLEX ng ating kuryente. Tapos yung Meralco, ito na yung mga maliliit na street, sila yung nagbibigay ng kuryente. So, paano yung, hindi lang kasi meron kang generation, meron kang kuryente, ito yung produkto, kung wala namang maghahatid, paano naman yun? So, kailangan din tingnan natin yung integridad ng ating mga highway ng kuryente at saka nag-e-expand ba. So, parang daan din yan. Kunwari sa EDSA, sobrang traffic. Kung marami ka namang mga generation, kulang naman yung iyong highway, paano makakarating sa atin yung kuryente? So, may mga koordinasyon na kailangan tingnan. So, medyo masalimuot kasi yung kuryente. Apat na sector yan. Generation, ito yung may distribution ka pa, meron ka pang distribution, and then ito pa yung retail sector, yung mga consumer na. Oo. So, masalimuot siya, and then kailangan ng koordinasyon, and then yung meron pa dyan na nire-regulate ng gobyerno. Yun nga yung sa distribution at saka yung transmission.
So, gano'ng katagal yung kinundak yung study?
So, 1 year namin ginawa yon. Actually, pinapolish pa namin ito. Ipapublish ito ng, kung hindi ako nagkakamali ng NEDA, hopefully late this year, lumabas yung book para din ma-inform naman yung, ang gusto natin ma-inform yung policy. Kumbaga, evidence-based yung ginagawang policy, hindi lang kumbaga nanggaling sa wala.
So, different agencies ba? Meron tayong link with the other agencies pagdating dito sa project na to?
Yes. Actually, nasa steering committee ng EPDP, ang DOE at NEDA. Kasi nga, naka-frame yung project sa we want to pursue economic growth. Kasi di ba na-experience nga natin to in the last 6 years. And then ngayon naman yung current administration is looking at 6 to 7% growth in the next 6 years. So again, kailangan kumbaga may koordinasyon talaga yung sa economic front at saka yung energy. Kasi nga input nga yun. So may suporta naman kami ng DOE at saka ng NEDA kasama si Secretary Pernia at si Secretary Cusi sa tinatawag naming steering committee kasi kailangan talaga ng engagement with the ones in the policy. And then nakikipag-ugnayan din kami sa Senate office. So tingnan natin kung hopefully tuloy-tuloy yung engagement.
Pero base nga doon sa mga diniscuss niyo kanina na different sources of energy, sa inyong pag-aaral, ano talaga yung mas pwedeng akma dito sa Pilipinas na gamitin talaga natin?
So, actually lahat yan.
Okay.
Diba? So, sabi ko nga kanina, sa Mindanao, ang ginagamit pa rin natin is largely hydro. Kasi maraming source doon ng tubig. Pero na-experience natin yung rotating brownouts sa Mindanao, di ba? Kasi nga nagkaroon ng El Nino, natuyo yung tubig, konti yung na-generate na kuryente.
So walang backup?
So walang backup noon, pero ngayon, ang pumapasok na ngayon ng mga generation companies, nasa coal. So, pero syempre, kailangan nating i-balance yung concerns for the environment. Alam naman natin na yung coal, tinatawag na dirty fuel, di ba? So, kailangan nating i-balance yan, pero again, i-balance natin yan, but keeping in mind, ano ba talaga yung objective? Diba, ang objective natin, sabi nga sa Filipino 2040, maginhawang buhay. Paano natin mapapagaan yung buhay ng mga Pilipino? So, dito naman sa Luzon, coal yung marami pa rin.
Okay.
So, kumbaga, depende yan sa region, sa Visayas, geothermal. Yan yung mga pumapasok. Depende sa tatlong grid yan yung Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Grid yung tawag dyan. Iba-iba pa rin talaga yung main fuel source na tinatawag. So, hindi iisa, kumbaga.
Pero ang paggamit ng nuclear?
Yung paggamit ng nuclear, sa Japan, kahit na nagkaroon ng Fukushima disaster, di ba, ngayon bumabalik sila sa nuclear power. Sa tingin ko, kailangan nating pag-aralan. Hindi naman natin isasarado yung usapan, di ba? So, kung makakatulong ba ito, bakit hindi? Pero, syempre, kailangan nating isaalang-alang yung, kumbaga, safety net na tinatawag. Paano yung decommissioning? Kailangan kasama yan sa pag-aaral.
So, until now ba, yun pa rin ang main issue? Pagka gagamitin natin ng nuclear energy?
Sa tingin ko, yung decommissioning. Kasi di ba, we have lessons learned.
Yes.
Japan, very advanced yung technology nila. And yet, when disaster strike, di ba, nakita natin yung nangyari sa Fukushima. We don't want that to happen here in the Philippines. Di ba? Yun talaga yung kailangang isaalang-alang.
Oo. Siyempre, di ba, parang tipid ka nga sa kuryente. Mamaya, hindi ka maligtas.
Yes.
Di ba? Pero karamihan ngayon, mga gumagamit na rin ng mga solar panels.
Oo.
Okay.
Yung ibang mga bahay. So, yan yung di ba, dahil nga sa concerns for the environment, tinitingnan yung mga renewable energy, solar and wind. Pero kailangan din nating pag-aralan yan, yung malakihang kumbaga malakihang source ng solar power kasi merong implication ito sa ating grid, yung stability ng grid, yung sinasabi ko kanina na highway ng ating kuryente. Kasi ang solar power, it only generates electricity when the sun is shining. Ganon din yung wind. Diba? So, nagkakaroon ng instability sa ating grid. So, tingnan natin kung ano yung nangyayari. Pero, in any case, magandang, ngayon yung technology sa solar, nakaka-discover na ng mga battery. So, magandang tingnan yan, pagtuunan, bigyan pa ng research and development, makakapag-compete naman ito competitively. Ngayon nga, ang presyo ng solar, ang recent na contracting between Meralco and Solar Philippines, 5 pesos daw per kilowatt hour. So, makakapag-compete sila sa coal.
Okay.
So, kung makapag-compete nga, mag-discover talaga yung technology where you can store, why not, di ba? Doon naman tayo sa pinakamura. Yun yung sinasabi namin doon sa aming pag-aaral na lesser cost resource. Ito yung i-utilize natin. Hindi lang sa isa lang na technology.
Oo, kasi minsan naman, syempre ma'am, di ba tayo, tumatanggap tayo ng bill from
Oo.
electric bill. Makikita mo sa likod, ang daming percentage, etc., na contribution, hindi ba? Parang, pero yung konsumo ko naman ganito lang, pero yung presyo bakit ang mahal-mahal?
Tumataas.
Oo,
Yun
pero
nga.
sana nga dito, base sa inyong project at study, magtuloy-tuloy, hindi ba? At maging matagumpay. Pero sa kabuuan, kamusta estado ng energy resources natin o ng energy power siguro natin, generation dito sa Pilipinas?
So, itong mga to, renewable naman, like yung tubig, di ba? Pero meron ngang El Nino, so nagkakaroon ng constraint na tinatawag. Yung geothermal, marami tayong mga bulkan, di ba? Diyan galing yan Pero hindi natin alam. Meron din siguro yung hangganan kung paano natin mahuhukay. Ganon din yung mga coal. Meron tayo niyan sa ibang probinsya, kinukuha natin. Pero depende din yan sa quality. Kaya nag-i-import pa tayo sa Indonesia kasi mas maganda daw yung quality ng coal nila. Hence, makakapag-generate ng mas maraming kuryente. So, and then yung malampaya, sinasabi din nila yung ating natural gas, meron rin niyang hangganan. So, tinitingnan ngayon yung mga scientists natin kung alin pa yung area na pwedeng ma-explore at baka meron pa doon na natural gas. So, yan yung mga tinitingnan natin.
Pero anong ma-advise niyo or paano makakatulong ang publiko with this crusade on our energy security?
Oh, yan. So, yung mga nasabi ko, ito yung tinatawag naming supply side, yung generation, di ba? So, yung public, if we can help on the demand side, ito yung prudent conservation on the use of electricity. Sa susunod na ngayon, ang titingnan naman namin ito exactly, no? Paano, kung ikaw na taga-konsumo ng kuryente, alam mo, kung makikita mo sa yung bill, na yung kapitbahay mo, who has the same number of family members in your family, consuming less than you are, baka magbago yung behavior mo. Di ba? And then meron namang isa doon na mas kapareho din ng bilang ng member ng family, masyado namang ang taas-taas ng kinukonsumo ng kuryente, baka pwedeng magbago yung behavior natin. So, yun yung demand side management. Doon tayo makakatulong kasi hindi naman pwedeng gamit lang ng gamit. Di ba? May hangganan din.
So, ma'am, sabi niyo nga ngayon na on the process pa rin itong study ninyo.
Yes.
Pero what's next? Ano yung mga dapat pa nating abangan
So,
in the future?
In the future, ang mga tinitingnan, nakalinya tong mga research studies namin, merong titingin ng tungkol sa mga cooperatives. Ito naman yung Meralco sa ibang lugar. Sila yung nagdi-distribute ng kuryente. Meron din kaming gagawin on fuel mix modeling. Mas malalim pa na pag-aaral on the fuel mix. Titingnan din namin yung demand side management, yung sinabi ko nga kanina. And then, lalabas na rin yung mga pag-aaral namin on yung mga bureaucratic red tape para yung mga yung mga generation power company, nagko-complain daw kasi sila na ang dami-daming permits before you can put up a power plant. So, tinitingnan din yan. At saka yung epekto ng VAT. Kung tatanggalin ba yung VAT, bababa ba yung presyo? Again, parating yung presyo yung tinitingnan natin. Paano tayo makaka-contribute sa pagbaba?
Ayun, tama. Implementation with the government, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ating
Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung ugnayan, yes.
Okay. And any recommendation after this study?
Well, I hope na tuloy-tuloy nga yung engagement para somehow nakikinig at nakakapag-usap. Siyempre, may constraint din naman yung government, di ba?
Yes.
Kung paano ba i-implement ito. Pero siguro tuloy-tuloy na engagement para din magtuloy-tuloy yung kumbaga yung pag-improve ng mga policies, maging evidence-based at informed yung policy making.
So any other factor kung bakit nahahadlangan ito ng mga gagandang proyekto na ito, ma'am? Any challenges na kinakarap talaga ninyo base sa inyong pag-aaral?
Siyempre, minsan kasi may mga grupo na iba naman yung objective. So, pero parati naming sinasabi ang objective natin, i-improve yung well-being ng Pilipinas. Third world pa rin tayo na kinoconsider sa labas, di ba?
Yes.
Poverty is still a problem. So, if you can bring electricity, may pinuntahan kaming lugar sa Iloilo Island, walang kuryente, and then ngayon nagkaroon ng kuryente. sabi nila nadagdagan yung income nila dahil nakakapaggawa sila ng ice candy or nagtitinda ng yelo.
Okay.
And that adds to their income. Di ba? So, kumbaga, iyon yung kailangan natin i-improve yung well-being. So, tayo sa Maynila, baka isipin natin hindi natin masyadong naramdaman. Pero sa probinsya, it really matters kung nagkakaroon sila ng kuryente.
Tama. Lalo na yung mga nasa liblib na lugar,
Yes.
hindi ma'am? Hanggang
Oo.
ngayon, parang hindi pa rin nila alam kung paano magkaroon ng maranasan na may kuryente
Yes.
talaga.
Oo.
Kayo, sabi nga natin sa introduction pala natin, nagawaran kayo as outstanding young scientist.
Salamat.
Ngayong taon na ito, pero nung na ibigay sa inyo ito award nito, first and foremost, ano yung naramdaman ninyo?
Siyempre, masaya kasi na-recognize
Yes.
yung efforts, di ba? Yun, so kumbaga, and then I hope na makaka-inspire sa mga students na to pursue higher education.
Ayun, paano yung sila encourage talaga na ipursu nga itong career
So,
sa science
sa
and
mga
technology?
bata,
Yes,
sa mga
ma'am.
kabataan, be hungry for knowledge at maging masaya sa mga bagong nalalaman. So, kasi I was happy when yung sa 10-point agenda ng current administration, nandun ang innovation, di ba, at ang science and technology. I think for the Philippines, we really need a lot of PhD scientists if we really want to pursue yung trajectory ng ating economic growth.
At kasi ma'am, syempre nagkakaroon tayo ng isipan na pagka-scientist ka talaga, minsan mapapabayaan. Pero lately, hindi naman talaga. Natututukan at nagagawa na, nabibigyan na ng atensyon ngayon ng mga scientists.
Yes, oo.
Any final words po ma'am sa ating mga taga-subaybay? Baka meron tayong gustong ipaalala at sabihin na rin sa kanila.
Well, salamat para siguro sa gobyerno, sana ipagpatuloy pa yung pagbigay ng atensyon sa science and technology. Pag-facilitate ba ng environment para ito kasi yung tinatawag natin na demand side. Kasi kung magkakaroon ka ng incentives for the students, let's say, to pursue courses in science and technology, even economics, ito naman yung mag-generate ng supply side eh. So again, pinapasukan ko to ng economics. Even in science and technology, may supply and demand.
Yes.
So the role of the government is to facilitate having this environment para puntahan. So yun siguro ang aking final words for the viewers.
Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po,
Salamat.
ma'am. So much, ma'am. At we are honored talaga na nakasama namin kayo ngayong umaga. At marami na naman na-inspire. Siyempre, yung inyong study, ang inyong research, napakalaking kapakinabangan, lalo na sa ating lahat. Hindi ba? At later on, sooner, babalik po kayo dito, lalo na magtagumpay itong proyekto na ito.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat po. Ayan mga ka-forever. Of course, nakasama natin si Dr. Ravago. Your great mind inspires us all. Your contribution to science and technology is a step forward to development and progress. Kaya naman maraming salamat po. Sana ma-inspire at maging role model kayo sa lahat dahil kayo ang nagpapatunay that hard work really pays off. Good luck po sa mga future projects ninyo. Iba talaga kapag calling ang isang passion. Ika nga nila, choose a job you love and you'll never have to work a day. Ito ang kwento ni Dr. Ravago. Kahit ilang awards na ang kanya nakamit sa pagiging ekonomista, ay wala pa rin siyang sawang nagbabahagi ng pambihirang talino at karunungan sa kabataan at sa bayan. Isang tunay na outstanding young scientist inside and out. And there you have it mga ka-forever. Salamat po kay Dr. Ravago for that inspirational discussion. Bukas, ibang topic na naman ang pag-uusapan natin. Kaya naman, patuloy lang sa panonood sa DOSTv. Kahit anumang panahon ang dumating, babalik kami kaya nood lang from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. You can visit our webpage at www.dostv.ph and subscribe to our YouTube channel, www.dostv.ph. And like our Facebook Facebook page, facebook.com/DOSTVPH. Kaya naman click na at mag-login para lagi tayong magkasama. Dahil weather lang ang laging nandyan, tag-araw man o tag-ulan, hindi nang iiwan kahit sino ka man. Kami ang DOSTV na laging nandyan. May bagyo man, kulog o kidlat, hindi namin kayo iiwan. Dahil laging tandaan, weather is forever.